Jesse! Jesse! Open up! Wake up, Jesse! We have to make blue rock meth. We have to get Hank. We have to get Gus. We have to get Gail. Get off the toilet, Jesse! Jesse! Breaking Bad's a great show. It's probably it is among my favorite things that's ever been made. It's up there with like the Harry Potter books. Those are like two of them, and that's in the top 3. I don't know what the other one in the top 3 is. I have a very ill-defined list of what my favorite things in media are. But, yeah, in honor of the new season of Better Call Saul, which I have not seen, I haven't seen all of Better Call Saul yet, so, yeah, but because of that, I decided to do some Breaking Bad stuff when I had absolutely nothing else to do, and because there's no movies that I have seen that have come out this weekend, I decided to do this. There is a movie that's coming out next weekend that I'm gonna do some stuff about, and a TV show that's wrapping up later this week that I'm also gonna do some stuff about. Been preparing for that. Anyway, with that out of the way, I'm going to rank all 16 Breaking Bad villains. Now, it's hard to define what a villain is in Breaking Bad because there's so many like shady people. For example, there are certain villains that are obviously villains, like Gus Fring, Tuco Salamanca, that I did include on this list, because why would I leave them off? But there are other ones, like I included Walter White on this list, because he is a villain of the show. He is a terrible person. But people like Hank or Jesse I did not include, because even though they are antagonistic to Walt is... While he's the protagonist, he's also, like, the main villain of the show. Because he does kind of cause his own downfall. Speaking of which, there will be spoilers in this. Heavy spoilers, certainly. So, yeah. And, like, I didn't include Skyler. I didn't include Mike. I did not include Saul. For reasons, like, Saul's not really a villain to the protagonists, whereas Mike has been somewhat antagonistic toward the protagonists. So, yep, that's where I'm at here. So 16 characters, they should be listed in the description. And let's do this. In last place is Kenny. Now, if you're unaware who Kenny is, he is the second in command to Jack Welker, who is the leader of the Nazi supremacist, crazy people, evil guy group that Walt got the help of in season 5. So, look, I don't remember what Kenny looks like at all. I remember Jack. He'll be up much higher on this list, but yeah, Kenny's just, I don't remember anything that he does. I didn't think he was that... Like, when I picture him in my head, all I can picture is Bronn from Game of Thrones. For whatever reason. I have no idea why, but that is the case. So, yeah, I just don't remember anything that he did. He definitely died a gruesome death, but everyone in that group did in the series finale. So, yeah, I just don't remember the guy. Number 15 is Declan, who was also introduced in season 5, and he helped Walt and Mike and Jesse kind of start up their business a little bit. Aside from taking part in the truly magnificent Say My Name scene, where it was like, I don't know who you are, and Walt was like, you know exactly who I am. I am the one who knocks. No. Anyway, yeah, aside from that, he didn't really do much that really stood out to me personally. He was good. Like, I mean, he was kind of cool. I do remember this one scene he had with Lydia. But, yeah, he helped Walt and Mike and Jesse. That's about it. I don't know, just not a super memorable character. Number 14 is Juan Bolsa, who he was only in like I believe seasons. It was either season 2 or season 3. You know what? It could have been both. I don't know. Okay, so Juan Bolsa is the guy who Gus Fring reported to, who he had killed in an amusing way. Kind of. But he just wasn't that interesting of a character when in comparison to the characters who were being introduced around the same time. Like, he's just kind of a just standard cartel enforcer guy. He's not that fun. I never really enjoyed him as a character outside of enjoying the comeuppance of his death in terms of what it meant for Gus. And he was important for Gus as a character, but on his own as a character, he didn't really do all that much in this series. And I'm getting to a point of Better Call Saul where he's probably going to start doing some stuff. But, yeah. Number 13 is Tyrus Kitt, or as I like to call him, Victor 2.0. So after Victor's death, Tyrus was the guy that Gus brought in to do Victor's job. And, look, Tyrus looks cool. He's intimidating. He has a cool death, as do the people who he dies with. And I gotta say, Tyrus is a really, really cool name. But outside of that, he doesn't really do anything that Victor couldn't have already done. Like, I get that Victor had to die in terms of story purpose and Gus purpose, but, like, I don't know, Tyrus just didn't really stand out as a guy that was anything more than what Victor already had been. He was good. I enjoyed him. He has a cool name. He has a cool presence, and he was interesting on the show. Well, no. He was good on the show, but he wasn't particularly interesting on the show, even though I just said he was, but then I retracted it. Yeah. Number 12, speaking of the devil, is Victor. Victor, what a man. Too bad he had to die the way he did. That was gruesome and totally unexpected. I gotta say, watching this show, I knew that some people were gonna die. But, like, there were some that I did not expect at all. Victor's death was just like, whoa, holy crap. Because, I mean, you just witnessed the death of Gail Bedecker. Why Gail? He was so sweet. He was so in it. But we're not talking about Gail. But yeah, and you figure because Victor showed up at the crime scene, but he was there for 2 seconds, and then he leaves. So it's like, oh, he was there. Well, that's going to go out the back of my head because it doesn't really matter, does it? Well, yeah, it does apparently because Gus slits his throat with a box cutter because of it. So, yeah, Victor had his impact. Plus, he had a cool presence. I like that that smirk that he did. What I just did was not what he is smirk at all, but it was just the face that he commonly did. It was just kind of fun. Didn't have a last name, but he had a cool presence. So, yeah. Number 11 is Crazy 8. Now, there are some characters that I left out, like a Saul or someone else. And you're going to think, why include Crazy 8? I don't know. He was pivotal to the rest of the show. He was the first guy that Walt killed. And he actually was like, he showed that Walt was willing to take the step to killing somebody, even though in the case of Crazy 8, it was just for self-defense, because Crazy 8 was going to kill him. But, I mean, it kind of shows the progression of Walt's kind of arc / descent into madness and villainy. But we'll talk about that later. But as for Crazy 8, I really, really like the scenes that he had with Walt, where they were just talking about regular stuff, like his dad's furniture store, or, I don't know, just, there were such simple conversations, and you knew that Ah, man, Walt, you feel like it's conflicting because on the one hand, this guy seems like a pretty nice dude for being in the drug business, but at the same time, he knows everything about Walt, so it's like he can't really live, but you don't want him to die, but you also want him to die for Walt's sake. It's an interesting dynamic with him. Plus, I think he just seems like a likable guy. He has this just nice energy to him. So, yeah, he was a cool character. Very important and memorable, even though he was only in like the first maybe like episodes 2 or 3, maybe one more. I don't know, but yeah, he was cool. Number 10 is Eladio Vuente. Now I'm not sure exactly how much of this show that Don Eladio was in, but he certainly made his impact. Oh boy. So, was he only in the one episode? No, I don't know. I'm not sure, but yeah, he was just a fun character. Like, as opposed to Bolsa, who's kind of just a cartel guy, does drugs, is evil. Maybe not does, distributes drugs, is evil, wants money, is rich. I mean, Eladio is all those things, but he has just such a strange vibe to him that like he likes when people give him gifts, which leads to Gus being able to take that opportunity to poison him in that truly epic scene at his house in I believe it's season 4. Yes, it's season 4. Yes. Okay. Just this big scene where it's like, what does Gus have planned? He's got to have something planned. And then he takes a sip of the drink and it's like, does he not have something planned? And then everybody else drinks it too. Then Gus goes to the bathroom, starts vomiting, and we're like, oh boy, yeah, he had something planned. Of course he did. It's Gus Fring. How would he not have something planned? And then just the shot of Eladio just plopping into the pool, dead. I really like the actor. Like, he has just a nice energy to him. And it was a fun character, even though he wasn't on the show that much. I don't know why I laughed when I said that, but I don't know. So yeah, cool character. Number 9 is Leonel and Marco Salamanca, the cousins, and I lumped them together because 1, they barely ever speak. 2, when they do, it's in a language that I do not speak, and D, whatever. They didn't speak, and they're always together, except one of them died, and the other one was still alive. But anyway, so these two were just, like, they took the concept of silent and ruthless-looking killers, people who shouldn't be that interesting, but they don't, like, move their faces at all, so they're just so unsettling that you just really enjoy when they're on screen. Whether they're, like, beating up and killing a truck dude, owner man, or whatever, or whether they're in this epic shootout with Hank, where Hank, with just 1 minute's warning, is able to kill one of them and seriously injure another of them, even though they injure him a great deal. But I don't know, they were just really, really cool, ruthless characters that I really, really enjoyed all throughout the one season that they were on the show. I'm shocked that they were only on for that one season. And, like, with them, you do get more insight into the Salamanca clan, and, like, even though Tuco has already been gone at this point, like, you get more stuff with Tuco, or not like he's not in it, but it's just more about his family, the way they operate, more about Hector, that leads into Gus and Eladio and Bolsa and all these people. But yeah, just 2 very, very cool characters. Number 8, Lydia Rodarte-Quayle. Not gonna lie, I like that name. That's a cool name for a character. Okay, so the thing about Lydia is that you wouldn't think she'd be that necessary. Like, to add in this new character that's associated with Gus Fring, that just in season 5, the final stretch of the show. But, like, I mean, she's so much different from the other villains on the show that she just is interesting. She stands out amongst these other just crazy murderer people. Like, for one, she she's involved with drugs, but she doesn't kill people. She doesn't like seeing dead people. Like the scene where she is walking through this field of dead people and like she's covering her eyes and Declan is helping her across the field thing. That was just I wouldn't have expected her to do that. But like and she was just really neurotic, which again is not something you'd expect from a villain, but she's still I don't want to say intimidating because she's not really an intimidating threat, but she is a powerful person. Like she's high up in like her whatever business she works for. She helps Walt distribute stuff to like overseas, which is like I'm sure something he never wanted to do or planned on doing, but I mean, she was so shady, yet her motives were all like entirely selfish. And like even though she had a daughter, they didn't really do anything with that, which honestly, that's a not a bad change of pace. Like they didn't need to focus on her daughter. She could just be this selfish, conniving, manipulative person who died because she always wanted stevia. What is stevia anyway? Come on. I don't know. So the way that she was taken out in the end by Walt was actually very satisfying. And it was like you knew they were coming back to the ricin. Like they weren't just gonna introduce that and then like, oh, well, we don't have anything to do with this, so let's just throw it in the desert somewhere. What was that? Anyway, so yes, a cool, interesting, very much different villain to introduce in the last season. Number 7 is Jack Welker. Another new and interesting villain to introduce in the final season. So he is the uncle of Todd, and he is crazy. Man, he is crazy. So he's the head of this like Nazi supremacist gang of lunatics, and he himself is just a power-hungry lunatic. And he was always really kind of matter-of-fact about stuff, and he had just kind of a like the actor had such a normal sort of vibe to him, but you knew, okay, this guy is crazy, but he seems like he's not crazy, even though you know he's crazy. So it was kind of fun to see Walter White associating with these type of people, because at first it seems like he's just so out of his element, which, I mean, why wouldn't he be? These people are insane. But, I mean, he eventually gets more comfortable, which was probably a bad idea, because, you know, they show up and, like, they kill Hank, leading to Walt making the... Excuse me for a second. Yes. Whatever I just did, Walter did it not that way, but something that was not really... He was sad because Hank... That was what I was trying to... You know what? Let's forget that just ever happened. Anyway, so yes, Jack Wilker, a truly ruthless and brutal character who was he was just like, you didn't like him, but he had kind of an interesting vibe to him. He was different than the other villains because he wasn't really involved with drugs. He was just involved in evil stuff. And just the way he gets taken out, like, it's really funny because I don't believe he ever, like, gets shot by Walt's gun. But, yeah, he doesn't, like, he doesn't die from that. And then he's laying on the ground, and then he sits up and he's like, wait, to Walter, picks up his cigarette, puts it back in his mouth, and he's like, you want money? And then Walt just shoots him. Such a satisfying way to see the just absolute terrible person get taken out. Oh, man. Number 6 is Hector Salamanca. Oh, what a man. Now, Hector Salamanca wasn't really much of an active threat throughout this show, because, I mean, he was in the hospital or in the nursing home. He could speak doing the ding bell. He could speak doing the ding bell thing. Yes, that's what I was saying. And yeah, he didn't really have people supporting him anymore. Like, throughout the course of this show, his entire family gets killed. So, yeah. But, I mean, for one, the reason I included him is because he was such a significant villain back when he was in his prime, and he was just, whenever he was on screen, he was a force to be reckoned with, to be sure. Because even though he couldn't speak, he was just so somehow articulate with the bell, and it was so much fun whenever he was on screen, because it's like, no, you old man, be quiet. When it's like, okay, we want Walt and Jesse to kill Tuco, and then Hector's just like, ding, hey, Tuco, get over here, your people here are being bad. Something like that. And it's like, why is this old man doing this? Old men are always nice. He should be a nice guy. But then you realize, this is what he used to do? He used to be a big cartel guy, and then he's now confined to a wheelchair in a nursing home and But that, I can do that. I can't do what Walt does, but I can do that. So yeah, it was a fun character. I really liked when he went and talked to the DEA, and just he used the letter system with the rose and stuff and the bell to just spell out dirty expletives to the DEA. It was just so much fun to see Hank and Gomez being like, yeah, we get it, guy. You don't like us. Now get out of here if you don't have any pertinent information. That's my good Hank impression. Anyway, so, and the way Hector dies is just, it's saddest, because, like, if you watch Better Call Saul, like, at the point I'm watching right now, Hector, like, Gus has just been introduced, he has this whole conflict with Hector, and it's like, you want to see Gus take out Hector, and you thought Gus wins, but Gus is like, this is your last chance to look at me, Hector. But in the context of this show, you want to see Walt take Gus out, and for that to happen, you need Hector to take Gus out. And, like, the moment when, like, Hector's just, like, looking away from Gus, he's not willing to look his eyes on him. That. And then he looks upon Gus and he's like, And he looks sad at first, and then he goes like, and I don't know what it is about the actor Mark Margolis, like, the way he contorted his face from, it was kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie. I was honestly kind of freaked out, because it was like there was only a single light shining in each of his eyes. It was just, it freaked me out. And then, of course, the big boom boom where Gus did the ha, and then he became Two-Face from Batman. Anyway, so yeah, just a very cool character that was just featured throughout the series. Awesome. Number 5 is Todd Alquist. Oh boy, speaking of terrifying, wow. So Todd is just, All right, I'm sorry. What am I saying? Todd. Should be calling him Meth Damon, of course. But anyway, Todd. I was not expecting Todd to be as Todd was. What am I saying? Okay, so when he was first introduced on the show, I knew that the actor Jesse Plemons was going to be on the show, and I was like, hey, that guy's finally being introduced. Cool. I didn't know what he was going to do, but I knew he was going to be a main character. I knew he was going to play into the plot. This is not how I expected him to play into the plot. I don't know how I did expect him to play into the plot, but I mean, when you first meet him, he seems just like a real nice dude. And he's like calling Walt Mr. White. He's being kind of courteous. He seems like a very skilled young man. He's helping Walt and Jesse out with the train robbery, and QB in there as well. And at the end of that train robbery, it's like, hey, they did something right. You don't want them to do it, but they had a victory, so good for them. They're all celebrating. And then that little kid rides by on that dirty, dirt-covered bicycle with that spider in the jar. He's just like, and they're just like, And you see Todd wave, and then he just takes out the gun, and he just kills the kid. And I did not know that was going to happen. Of everything that I expected to happen, that was at the very bottom of the list. And I was just like, what just, what? Yeah. And it was just such a shocking moment where it's like, Todd's worldview seems to be just so black and white. Because it's like, Walt told him at all costs, no one can know this happened. So if some little kid shows up and is like, hey, something is happening, I don't know what, because I'm a small child and I don't know what anything is. There's a better way I could have phrased that, but I don't know what stealing drugs from a train looks like. So Todd's like, oh, this kid might know what happened. Bam! I'm gonna kill him. Brilliant. Not actually, you know what I mean? That was sarcasm. I'm sarcastic. You should know this about me by now. Anyway, so, yeah. Point is, Todd is crazy. And throughout the series, he just continued to be very uncaring about all the bad stuff he was doing. Killing Andrea in just such a cavalier manner. And you see Jesse being imprisoned by Todd and his uncle and them, and it's like, you want Jesse to kill Todd in the most brutal of ways, and he does, and it's awesome. Oh, man. Seeing Todd in that final episode and Walt just standing there in this room full of evil, terrible people, and then he does the car key thing, the gun just pops out of the trunk, and it starts killing all the dudes, and Todd just gets down on the floor. He's like, whoa. He just looks out the window, he's like, hey, whoa, Mr. White, you just killed my uncle. Fascinating. And then Jesse just proceeds to choke him, and, it's brutal, but it's satisfying, because Todd is just a horrible, horrible person, but you know what? He makes for a great villain, man. Number 4 is Tuco Salamanca. Man, I wish he'd been put on main cast, because he is awesome. Man, I love Tuco. He's such a fun and unique character, because he's so crazy and so much of just a lunatic who is so unpredictable, so erratic, that one minute he can be like, hey, you gonna speak up for me or no? Huh? And the guy does. And then when the same guy does that again, and he's like, what'd you just say? You saying that I'm stupid? And then he just brutally beats the dude to a pulp. Oh, man. And one of the first times we see him, he kicks the crap out of Jesse. And then Walt goes in and gets blown up. And then he just keeps on doing meth. And, like, so much about Tuco is just so strange and so unique. Like, the fact, he always says, tight. And he's like, you never know what he's gonna do. Like, the point when he has Walt and Jesse captive, it's really funny. But it's also very tense, because of course you have Hector being like, no, I won't let this happen. Ding! And Tuco's just like, he's just taking care of Hector. And he's just like, I thought your name was Heisenberg. Walter Hartwell White. Either way, I think the actor is phenomenal in the role. Like, he is truly excellent. Like, I just couldn't see any other person playing him. And he's just such a... I really wish he got more screen time. And then I got my wish fulfilled in Better Call Saul, where he shows up multiple times. Oh, what a fun character. The story wouldn't have worked if he'd stuck around. But he was just really fun to see on screen. Number 3 is Mike Ehrmantraut. Now, fun fact about my history with the character of Mike. When he was first introduced, I did not know his name, and I only figure out his first name because of the subtitles on Netflix. And I didn't know his last name, and until they revealed it, I was like, wait, he's gonna be related to somebody else on this show. Ha! He's Walter White's half-brother. Mwahaha! And I pretty much only thought that because he was bald, but... And Walt wasn't even always bald. Whatever. So, and then they revealed his last name, and it was like a label on the doctor tent box of blood for him in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, Ehrmantraut? Ehrmantraut? That's his name? Yes, that is his name. And the idea of him being Walt's half-brother just seems really stupid to me. But he was just a fun character, man. Oh, for one, Jonathan Banks he's such a good actor. He's so good at just being stoic all the time and being like, Walter, shut up. I hate you. But, like, anyway, I love seeing him with Gus. I love seeing him interact with Saul. I enjoyed seeing him interact with Jesse, because it's like, you wouldn't expect that Mike would like this kid, but he does. And that, like, he gets Jesse to help him on some stuff, and that's a cool storyline. And Walt just is like, why didn't you pick me, Mike? He doesn't actually do... That was fun, I gotta tell you. Anyway, so I love seeing Mike interact with Walt, because it's so clear that Mike just absolutely despises Walt. Like, he can't stand him. And, like, for very good reason. Walt is a horrible, horrible person. That was a weird voice crack I just did. Anyway, but, I don't know, their dynamic was just so fun, because it was like, you want to see Mike take out Walt, but you also just want to see him work together, and they do. Both of those things, well, not both of those things. Mike tries to take what, I'm sure he wants to at various points. But yeah, the way Mike was introduced and how we learned kind of more about him, that was all just very interesting. I like seeing the stuff with his granddaughter, even though there's not a ton of it. And, like, his reputation as this mysterious, all-purpose killer, hitman, cleaner dude. It was just very... He was just... I'm going to call it... I think Mike is easily the coolest character in the Breaking Bad universe. Like, as cool as Gus is just... But, I don't know, just... There's something about... Mike is just... He keeps his cool all the time. And, well... Okay, it's a tie between Gus and Mike. I take that back. Tie between Gus and Mike. But either way, man, I like Mike. I like him when he's an antagonistic. I like it when he's, like, allied himself with Walt and Jesse, even though he doesn't really want to. And I gotta say, I did not want to see him taken out. No, I did not. Especially in the way that Walt did it. Oh, I was just so underhanded. Because Walt just, like, walks up to his car and he's like, "Bah!" And just, it was just so much fun to see Mike just tell Walt to shut up. And just this huge mistake that Walt makes that he realizes only after he's shot Mike in a very fatal manner. He's like, he just walks down to where Mike is. Mike's just kneeling, looking at the river, about to die. And Walt's just like, "I just realized I can get the names from Lydia." And he's like, just, "Oh, you idiot." And it's just, and Walt's just like, "Yeah, sorry about that, Mike." And Mike's like, "Shut up, you moron. Let me die in peace." And he does. Just, come on. Gotta love Mike. He's awesome. Number 2 is Walter White. Wow. What a man Walter White is. Of course, his progression over the 5 seasons from mild-mannered, not able to stand up for himself, really Ned Flanders type dude, to this kind of badass, evil, completely deranged man who is acknowledging every fault that he's had. And it's just tragic to see, like, all this huge empire that he's built, the money he has amassed. It's not worth it at all. I mean, he helps his family, but I mean, like, he's caused so much destruction. The plane crash at the end of season 2. Like, the deaths of so many important characters on the show. Gus, Mike, lots of other people. I mean, some bad people. He's just caused so much chaos. Like, he ruined his marriage. He ruined his relationship with his son, with the rest of his family. And it's fascinating. And Bryan Cranston plays every single aspect of the character perfectly. He might have given my favorite performance of television of all time, like lead character or otherwise. He's just phenomenal, and he's such a good protagonist and antagonist for this series, because you can see, like, his arrogance is really just his own downfall. Not to mention, he's hilarious. He's so funny when, like, either he's trying to be menacing and failing spectacularly, or when he's actually being menacing, or when he's just being pathetic. Like when he's laughing in the compartment, when he's saying, "I am the one who knocks," when he's saying, "Say my name," when he's telling Jesse to get off the toilet, when he's yelling the name Jesse. Something about Bryan Cranston's delivery is just really amusing to me. But yeah, it's like a near perfect, no, not near perfect, a perfect arc for a series protagonist, and just the perfect, and just the way he goes out it makes perfect sense. Like, just left with nothing but the chemical equipment he used to make this crap. And he's such a bad guy. But you feel bad for him. Like, he's sympathetic, even though he's just such a bad person, or he's become such a bad person. Man, he's just such interesting stuff, really. And the reason he's not number 1 is because I think he's a better character overall than he is just a straight-up villain. The best straight-up villain on the show, without question, number 1 on this series, on this list, is Bogdan's eyebrows. Dude, shave them, pluck them, do whatever you need to. Get them out of my sight! Yeah! But the real number 1 is Gustavo Frank. Holy crap. I knew that Gustavo Fring was going to be a cool character. I did not know he was going to be this epic. Like, Giancarlo Esposito is an incredible actor, and this is by far his best performance by like a landslide. But he's just magnificent at keeping his cool at all times. And when he gets angry, he just gets more and more stone-faced. So he's unsettling. And, like, he is powerful. Like, he's able to do so much stuff that Walt is, like, he can't even fathom. Walt wants to be what Gus just naturally is. And it's kind of fun to see him fail at that and succeed at that in some ways. But, like, Gus has just built this huge empire. He has so much influence. I love his interactions with everyone because he has such a great persona, both when he's being like drug lord man or when he's being friendly Los Pollos Hermanos manager. Hi, welcome to Los Pollos Hermanos. What can I get you? You are an enemy. Anyway, so I don't know, he's just such an incredible villain. The way he gets taken out by like is unbelievable as it is. It's just fun and it makes sense. Like Walt's a smart guy even though he's a complete idiot. And it's just like you kind of see a bit of Gus's arrogance just a bit, even though he does nowhere near the level of arrogance that Walt does, but he's just such a great villain. And again, he's menacing and he's also kind of amusing at some points. Like the way he's able to just shift personas, shift facial expressions so quickly and make it convincing. His interactions with everyone, Mike, Walt, Jesse, the Los Pollos Hermanos employees, just great stuff. And he's such a phenomenal character. And again, his death scene is just really, really great. This is your last chance to look at me, Hector. Ha! But yeah. That is my list of Breaking Bad villains ranked. Share yours in the comments down below. If you want to include other characters that I didn't include, like Saul or somebody else, Bogdan's eyebrows, go ahead. Go for it. Thank you for watching. Once I hopefully, sometime after Better Call Saul Season 6 wraps up, I will be ranking the seasons of that show and probably the characters as well. I might do like a combined one of the characters from each series, but anyway, thank you for watching, and keep calm and watch Breaking Bad is masterful. Why wouldn't you be watching this if you haven't seen Breaking Bad? Keep calm and watch on.